So this is our flour mixture here for our dal puri that we're going to be doing as an appetizer. So in the interest of time, I have all of my ingredients here for the dough mixture. I have 2 cups of brown spelt. I have a quarter teaspoon of baking soda because you need the baking soda if you're gonna have this out as an appetizer. You need it to not get hard, so you put just a little bit of baking soda. So I have quarter teaspoon of baking soda, 2 cups of brown spelt. I'm using all brown today, I'm not mixing it up, and 3 tablespoons of oil. If you look closely, you will see these little balls here. This is the oil. It acts like the butter. When you're doing pastry and you rub in the butter into the flour, it looks like this, like little pieces of peas. The oil performs the same function. So when you sprinkle the oil and you do this, you're going to get the same kind of thing like if you had butter. And this would also help with the texture of the paratha. So I'm going to do a stuffed paratha and I'm going to show you how to do it. But in the interest of time, I'm going to cut this off here and then I'm going to come back and show you how to roll it out and stuff it. So let me explain the filling for the dal puri. So here we have the chana dal. Chana is actually chickpeas or garbanzo. When I was growing up in the Caribbean, we did, at least my people, we never said garbanzo bean or chickpea. We always said chana. So I don't know if you realize that this is the same thing as chana, as chickpea. So this is chana dal. So when you go to the Asian markets and you see this chana dal, and you see it says split chickpeas. So this is the smaller chickpea that is split, right? So we're going to use this as the stuffing. So what you do is you soak this, and this does not need to be soaked overnight. This would be fine in a couple hours, and you cook it. It doesn't take very long to cook. So this is not something you need to soak for too long, but you should soak it. So again, in the interest of time, this was soaked and cooked, and then I added my spices to this. So I have some toasted coriander and fennel, some salt, and some paprika. All right, so this is what we're going to stuff our dal puri with, our paratha. This is my dough that I showed you before. It was sitting for about 15 minutes. You shouldn't let it sit for less than 10 or 15 minutes. It needs to rest. As we know, you need to rest your dough. Whatever you're doing with dough, you need to rest it. But you could leave it to rest as long as half an hour. Half an hour is good. But this was resting for 10 minutes. So now I'm going to roll this out and show you how I stuff it. All right. So I divided this into 8 pieces, and now I'm going to make my balls. So you can watch my video where I did the paratha, although I did this slightly different, to see how I did this. So I'm going to make my balls, and then when I come back, we're going to start rolling it out, put it in our filling and roll it out. All right. So I have some white spelt flour here. So we're not just rolling this out, of course, because we're going to fill it. So you have your ball here. I made some balls here. What you do is you make a little space in there like this so you can put in your filling. Remember our filling? We are going to fill this. So I have a little spoon. And this should be cold. If this is hot, it's going to be really messy when you're trying to roll it out. So you put it in here, right? You put a little bit in here, and then you close it up by doing this, going around and around and around and closing it up. You close it up and your filling is in here. And you have your white spelt here to prevent it from sticking when you're rolling it out. And what you do is you press it. So by pressing it, you spreading out the filling inside. So you press it, and then once you press it, then you start rolling it out. So we're gonna start rolling this out gently. Quarter turn, turn it over. Remove some of the extra flour. You turn. So you can do these as small as you want or as large as you want. But I am doing this as a little appetizer, and you will serve this with your tamarind sauce, with a light tamarind sauce, not thick, not heavy. So that's it. This is a small one. And of course you would see sometimes it would, the filling would escape a little bit. That's fine. So now we're gonna go to the stove and fry this up. So I'm going to put some oil on my tower pan. And the pan is hot. And then you throw this on there, and you're going to see it's going to start bubbling within minutes. Not minutes, seconds. And then you put some more oil on the top here. You need a brush for that, because you don't want to put a lot of oil. You see, you start seeing the bubbles. And this is very quick. Very quick. Does not take too long. Less than a minute on each side, because this cooks very quickly. And that's it, guys. And then of course you would put this in a warm, damp towel to keep it moist. I added, additionally, this is not made kind of leavening agent, and it's kept in a warm, when you stack it on top of each other with a damp cloth covering it, it stays moist. But if you're doing this as an appetizer, this is done, guys. If you're doing this as an appetizer, it will be out on the table. So this is why you need to keep it soft. All right. So we're doing a tiny one. If you remember the bigger balls that I had, I cut it in half, and I'm doing a tiny one because the idea is to do some appetizers. So I'm going to make some space in here, and it's a tiny amount. You see, it's just a tiny amount at the edge here. It's a tiny amount that you're putting. Just a little bit from the tip of the teaspoon. And then you close it up, and then you press it lightly, not too much, because when you're rolling it out, the filling is going to spread out. Don't forget to put your flour, because you don't want it to stick. And if a little bit of the filling spills out on the end, don't panic. It's okay. You have to try doing this, trial and error. When I started doing this many years ago, I made a lot of mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes when you're cooking. It's not a big deal. So, you know, this is a tiny one. So then you can roll it up and have it as an hors d'oeuvre. And serve this with your tamarind sauce. So So that's it. Let's go to the stove and fry this up. So you see, I put a little bit of oil in the center here, and I'm going to take my brush and move it around. And now I'm going to put, and make, your stove is supposed to be very high or medium high. And I'm going to take this and put it here. And this is going to start bubbling up in a few seconds. And then you take some more oil and pat it here. And this is quick, guys. This is less than a minute on both sides. Less than 30 seconds on both sides. And it's cooked. And the longer you let this sit, the softer and the texture is going to be. I'm going to turn this because this is quick. This is very quick. We don't need too much oil. We already have a lot of oil. And that's it, guys. It's done. This is done. This is done. So I'm going to show you how I roll this up and use it as an hors d'oeuvre. Alright? So what I do is I roll this up like this. I roll it up like this. And you can put one of those picks in it. And you put it here. So this is my tamarind sauce here. And I had some here that I made before. This is a larger one. And you stack it up like this, and you know, this is your hors d'oeuvre. So your guests come in and they dip, no double dipping. Or you would have a bigger bowl, of course, and with a spoon, and then they would take their sauce with their dal puri and eat it. See? So I hope you guys make this for your family and friends for the holidays. It's delicious. It has a filling. It's a complete meal. I mean, all you need with this is a salad and some avocados, and you're good to go, right? So take care, and don't forget to like and subscribe.